Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. California just can't seem to get over the hump with Justin Wilcox. The Golden Bears are just 26-28 over the last 5 years with only 2 bowl appearances, but they nearly made one last year, going 5-7 with 5 losses by a touchdown or less. California is going to find themselves in a lot of similar close games in 2022. It's just a matter of whether they can change the result. When you take a look at the numbers from last year, guys, again, provided by College Football Encyclopedia, California doesn't have a lot to work with. They're 110th in the country when it comes to returning production. They were just 96th in the country last year when it came to points per game, averaging just 23.8. And they were 49th in defense last year. Again, typically a strength under Justin Wilcox. The offense is the major thing that California has to change. They get a Purdue transfer quarterback in with Jack Plummer, replacing the legendary, for some, Chase Garbers at California. The offensive line, though, is a major concern. The defense, again, usually solid with a solid back 7. Linebacking core is solid, led by Jackson Sermon, the transfer from Washington, and an always strong secondary for a unit that allowed just 22.2 points per game. California needs to get to a bowl game in 2022. Again, the million-dollar question is, can they get over the hump? Well, you take a look at their schedule. I will say I think they start 2-0. I think they're going to beat UC Davis, and we think they're going to beat UNLV. This is a great opportunity for California to work out the offensive line issues, and a great opportunity for Jack Plummer to learn the system and to finally get some game experience and game time with his new team. So 2-0 for California. They then travel on the road to Notre Dame, their first true test of the year. Notre Dame going through a handful of changes themselves, including a new coach and Marcus Freeman. But the Fighting Irish return 8 starters on offense. Very solid offensive line. Pretty solid dual threat quarterback in Tyler Buckner. And while they don't return as many starters on defense, it's still going to be extremely strong, especially in the secondary. Notre Dame is going to force at least 2 turnovers off of Jack Plummer in this game. Notre Dame, of course, facing him a few years ago when they played Purdue, but they're going to be able to break down him, get a couple turnovers off of him. California, I don't believe, is going to have enough success on the ground against the Fighting Irish, and Notre Dame will win this game in South Bend over the Golden Bears to drop California to 2-1. We do think they're going to move to 3-1, though, with a win over Arizona. Somehow, California found a way to lose to Arizona last year. The worst team in the Pac-12, Arizona's only win of the season came against California 10-3. Talk about offensive struggles for the Golden Bears. Arizona has improved drastically. Yes, they've added a lot of key new pieces, including Jaden DeLora from Washington State as their new quarterback. But the game is now at California. Revenge is certainly on their mind, and they realize that had we beaten Arizona last year, we would have been in a bowl game. You would hate to see the same fate be in store for California this year, being 1 win away from a bowl game and saying we should have beat Arizona, who still is a couple years away from really contending. They do beat the Wildcats this year, and they're 3-1, halfway to bowl eligibility. But the schedule gets tough. Very tough after that. The road game at Washington State will be a loss. Washington State beat California 21-6 last year, and Washington State has improved drastically since then, adding Cameron Ward in at quarterback and taking some strides on the defensive side of the ball under new head coach Jake Dicker. The game's in Pullman. The offense is going to be electric. They're going to be able to exploit California's defense that isn't terrible, but not elite by any means. Washington State wins. Cal is 3-2. The bye week comes at a great time before a road game at Colorado, but guys, here's the thing. The game at Colorado is a major trap game. We're not expecting much from the Buffaloes this year. We think they actually could be the worst team in the Pac-12, just from a record standpoint. But I believe their record is not going to be indicative of how solid this Colorado team is. They're not great, but they have talent to win a few games. JT Shrout in at quarterback. Ramon Jefferson in from Sam Houston State as their new running back. 5 starters back on defense. To me, California and Colorado, when you rank the personnel, are actually relatively even. Pretty evenly matched here. Colorado also will be coming off a bye coming into this game. In an evenly matched game, both teams are rested. I'm going to give the edge to the team that has home field advantage. Which team is going to benefit more from the crowd? And that's going to be Colorado. I believe Colorado get to win here, and California, for the second year in a row, might find themselves losing unexcusably to the worst team in the league. They do bounce back, though, the next week against Washington. We do think they beat the Huskies. Some people will be surprised by that. But California and Washington always give each other trouble. The two teams have split the last 6 meetings, and actually the last 3 games between the Huskies and the Golden Bears have been decided by a combined 10 points. combined 10 points. California winning 2 of the last 3, but they did lose last year in overtime, 31-24. But now they're at home. They get the Huskies at home. Washington's rushing defense was abysmal last year. California averaged over 160 rushing yards per game. I think they're able to exploit that weakness in the Huskies' defense. One that should improve, but that will still be a weak spot. California does that, bounces back with a win. They now get their 4th win and just need 2 more to go bowling. The problem is the last 5 games are extremely, extremely tough, especially the next 2. We think California drops the game to Oregon, and we certainly think they drop the road game at USC. They only lost to Oregon 24-17 last year, but Oregon's front 7 is going to wreak havoc in the California backfield. California's offensive line, again, is a weakness on the offensive side of the ball. Jack Plummer could be a weakness as well, depending on how well he fits into the system. Oregon's defense has tons and tons of talent to exploit that. And so even though the game is in California, I believe Oregon dominates the line of scrimmage in this game and takes down the Golden Bears. The road game at USC, yes, California beat the Trojans by 10 last year, but this is a completely different USC team, and that's what we have to remember. All the new pieces that Lincoln Riley has brought in, this is nothing like the USC team we saw last year, and we're not even dealing with the same talent that USC had last year. So now the road game is in the Coliseum. USC is loaded offensively, and California simply doesn't have the offense to keep up with the Trojans. The defense could get a few stops here and there, but you've got to produce points. And even if USC defense isn't great, they have enough to stop what will be a lackluster California offense. So California loses those next 2 games after the win over Washington. They then travel on the road to Oregon State, a team they beat by 14 points last year. But here's the thing. You talk about front 7s, guys. You talk about defensive lines. Oregon State's going to have one of the better lines in the Pac-12. They are loaded up front. And again, if California can't fix their offensive line problems, Oregon State is going to wreak havoc. Factor in again that Oregon State could have had a much better year last year had they been consistent. Losing to California and Colorado for them, that was inexcusable. Jonathan Smith and the Beavers recognize that. And now the game is at home for them. They have Chance Nolan back as an experienced quarterback, year 2 as a starter. Defense should be better with 9 starters back on that side of the ball. We're going to give the edge to the Beavers at home in Corvallis to get revenge over California. And now the Golden Bears have lost 3 straight games and have now lost 5 of their last 6 after a promising 3-1 start. So now you're doing the math. You realize that the last 2 games are at home for California. They do have to win both, though, to go bowling. Well, luckily for them, they will beat Stanford. We do believe they'll take down Stanford. Big-time rivalry game. They beat the Cardinal by 30 points last year, 41-11. Stanford might improve a little bit, but I'm not seeing a 30-point swing here, especially with how bad Stanford's defense was last year. Again, the worst in the Pac-12 in scoring, rushing, and total defense. California at home, with their season still on the line, beat Stanford in their rivalry game, which means it's a winner-take-all for California in the season finale, senior night against UCLA. You win, you go bowling. You lose, you stay home for another 5-7 season. What's going to happen? California will be staying home for the holidays. UCLA, guys, is simply too good. UCLA beat California 42-14 last year. We are not seeing a 28-point swing because UCLA has the opportunity to be even better than they were last year. UCLA is solid on offense. Great quarterback in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, solid running back in Zach Charbonnet, and the defense, guys, their one major weakness is in the secondary. They had the worst passing defense in the Pac-12 last year. I don't think California and Jack Plummer are going to be able to exploit that to its full ability. UCLA will get better as the year goes on. They'll hone in on the California run game. Jack Plummer is not going to have enough to beat them solely through the air. I'm not saying it's going to be a big-time blowout, but UCLA will win this game and keep California home. The Golden Bears will go 5-7 again under Justin Wilcox. And many will wonder, how much longer will he be there? The Golden Bears won't get over the hump in 2022. Will they ever get over the hump with Wilcox on the sidelines? So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. And also make sure to sign up for our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Again, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. We want you to take advantage of that to start winning this season and to become a part of our team. So once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.